Good evening, Greg here. Burn at both ends. Burning on the back end on Monday, 11:38 p.m. Pacific. Just clicked over. It is the 10th of September, 2018, and we are actually burning on the front end of week 2 of 17 to close out the year. Rocking Fundraise up. Really getting into this the startup, this new tech company. Really excited about what we're doing. So I was at the Solano Stroll this weekend. So that's Sunday. That's this enormous event in this tiny town. I mean, it's in Berkeley and Albany, right? So Solano Avenue runs east-west, and the east side is in Berkeley, the west side is in Albany, and it's only about 4 blocks from our house. If we walk due south, then we hit Solano Avenue in about 4 blocks, and so. Really cool event. We get I don't even know how many people, but probably a couple 100,000 people came, and so me and the family. So we started up on the Berkeley side. My youngest daughter does the Tutu School, which is a little ballet school. The cutest. I mean, talk about the cutest thing ever to see these kids do their ballet. And so we started up there with some really good friends of ours. Sam, Lana, Azalea, and they have a brand new baby boy, Ian, so congrats to them. Congrats, Sam. Congrats, Lana. Congrats, Azalea, and my little one, Olivia. They just love each other, so they're so cute together. It's ridiculous. So anyway, so we did our best to stroll the stroll, if you will, and I came prepared, so do I have any of them lying around? I don't. Let me see here. Oh, yep, right down here. So, a little bootleg on the business cards. I'm waiting for my real ones to show up, but let's see here. Fundraise up. Got some good graphics there. So printed out some business, because I figured it's better to have something than to have nothing. And I handed out probably about a dozen of those. And so lots of nonprofits. Oop, there's a fly, I think. Lots of nonprofits at the stroll. All kinds of things, all kinds of food vendors. There were rides for the kids. There was all kinds of food, all kinds of things to buy, art type things and trinkets and wearables and, lots of community groups and things like that. Lots of housing and kind of government type groups, and some folks that are running for office. You name it, it's there. It is one of the largest events, I think, that hits very local to us, and so it was really cool for me. So the family, we walked all the way down, or all the way over technically, right, east to west, and then the wife took the kids home, and then I strolled back up, practicing my pitch with different nonprofits, and something that was interesting, right? So, and this happens to me, right? So I was all excited. I had my cards. I've been rehearsing my pitch in my head, and I totally got cold feet. And I had all kinds of great excuses for walking by they're not interested. Oh, they wouldn't. It's fascinating. And then I was just like, you know what? There's only one way to practice, and that's to actually practice, right? Is to go up to someone and start talking. And so my method was just to go up and ask about their nonprofit and listen. So Suzanne's been giving me some great tidbits and some tricks, not tricks, but just some training. Essentially, listen to what they're talking about, listen to the pain, and then relieve the pain. Classic sales. And what I was so surprised about, and I'm so glad I just finally got the courage to start pitching. And it's a very soft pitch. It's and I chose to begin with, right? So I listened to all about their nonprofit and what they're up to, and then I'd say something like, "Hey, so do you do much with online donations?" And that seemed to work. And some didn't know, some, oh yeah, of course, it's all online. And then I can get right into the conversion, and we can instantly double your online conversions. And it was amazing how just that one sentence, just eyes lit up. What, really? And I immediately began seeing the impact that we can have on these organizations, and it was amazing. It was amazing how appreciative people were. And this is something in me. There's a piece in me that doesn't like selling, and so that's why this is such a great experience for me, because and this is I have to say, this is one of the first times in my life that I really feel what we're doing. I'm really behind what Fundraise Up is doing, what Peter and Suzanne have been training me on, with what Peter and his other co-founder Yuri have built. It's an amazing platform. It's an amazing mission, and I really can get behind it. And I'm really passionate about it because it's, I want to be about being of service. I want to be about being of service. I want to be of service. And I've said it before, but this is such a great thing for me to do, because it really, the more success I have in this, the more money nonprofits are making, and I just love that so much. And it was just really cool to talk to all these people, hear their stories. I wish I had more time to talk to them, because they're at a booth, and there are a lot of people there, and so there's not so much time to really get into it, because you really would like to hear not only the story of the nonprofit, but the story of that person and how they came to be there, because you get a lot of volunteers, and those two stories are really powerful. There's that fly again there, whatever. That was kind of some weird swatting, wasn't it? Anyway, maybe he'll live in my hat or something. And but just to hear their stories, and I wish I had more time to hear them, because you want to hear about the organization and the person and how they linked up and all kinds of things like that. Because I realized after I went through the stroll, talked to about a dozen nonprofits, heard some great stories, met some great people, made some connections, and followed through with some of those today. And thank you, Dominic. I'm really inspired by you, so I really appreciate you coming up to me and us chatting. And then we had some coffee today to go more in depth, and I really think that we can help Dominic and his nonprofit, and I'm just so psyched about that. I mean, this is exactly the kind of connection I want to make. Is here I found someone that has a real need, a real pain, and we can really help him. And it's just it's so powerful, because I get it, and I was talking to Dominic today, and so he runs a nonprofit, and I've had some startups, and I totally feel the connection between kind of running a small business and being overwhelmed with just how much stuff there is to do today, and what you want to do in the future, and how do you get there, and all that stuff. In nonprofits, it's very similar, right? These are, they live and die by the donation. They're trying to do so much, trying to get the word out, and there's just so much to do. And it's really tough to tell if what you're doing today is really going to have the effect you want tomorrow. And it's just, there's such an overwhelming feel. And I just totally connected with him on that, because that's how I felt when I was running these startups. And and so this little bug likes me, I guess. And so so it's just, and what I've realized is that my job is to collect these stories. If I'm collecting these stories, then I'm doing my job, because it's through these stories that we create the connection that then we can help them. And essentially what we do is we remove work from their plate, and on top of that, we leverage the work that they're already doing, right? Nonprofits spend an enormous amount of time and effort and money and volunteers to drive people to these websites, and it's a shame. This bug is really bothering me. Is he on the microphone now? We'll just keep him there. I think he is. It's such a shame how few people end up clicking donate, and even from there, how few people end up actually donating. It's shocking, actually. I mean, it literally is. It's like 1 out of 7 that click donate finish the form. I mean, this is a statistic from, I think it's I have the source right here. It's nonprofitpro.com, and then they have this digital benchmark for nonprofits, part of their site or page on their site, and it talks about 15% conversion rate is the industry average. That's about 1 in 7, which is horrible when you think about that. that's after you click the donate button. That's what's so crazy. So anyway, and so the fact that we can really help these folks and bring them more money and really move them forward and take work off their plate as far as, implementing our product for their nonprofit and leveraging the work that they're already doing. See, that's the critical thing, right? They're already going out there, putting themselves out there, spreading their word, driving people to their site. And it's so shameful that so few people come through and donate, even though there is a massive amount of money that's donated every year. It's in the tens of billions or in the hundreds of billions. It's rather crazy, and the online portion is really, you would think that it would be very mature by now, but it's not. It's in its infancy. It's something like about 7.5% of donated money is done online. That's it. But it is growing. It's growing about 10 to 11% a year. So, I mean, we are very well positioned to ride this, this hockey stick, as they call it, and or as I call it, I guess. So, so really psyched. And I'd say my biggest takeaway from the stroll was, first of all, just kind of getting up the courage to just do what I'm supposed to do and just stop making these excuses. And then also just seeing the impact, seeing people's faces light up, seeing how excited people were to talk to me, and getting over this kind of I'm selling something kind of component, because it's not. It's I'm offering a service to really help what they're already doing, and it makes sense why there's a lot of interest in it. So we're just gonna keep on moving, and so we have our new site launched. And I'm starting to get introductions from a lot of the friends and folks in my network that I've asked for help, and I'll just keep honing the pitch. And it was great. Peter sent out today a nice, beautiful list of, not list, but a whole bunch of different types of way to talk about what we do, and different responses to different questions and things like that. And so, very excited for this, and this is just the beginning. And then even this morning, got up, burning on the front end this morning, got up at 5 a.m. and this kind of happens to me as I get in this kind of weird space where, I get up and I'm having my coffee and I'm like, I don't know if I want to do any work this morning, that kind of weirdness. But I've learned it's just kind of shut up and get into it, right? Just quiet that part of my mind and just get into the work. And I have to admit, this morning, I felt so empowered just getting into the work. Just, I was reviewing the nonprofits that I spoke to yesterday. I was reviewing the folks that I asked for introductions, so I had a list there. And it's just and with the experience yesterday, it's just so empowering to do this work. Really excited to be here. And then today spoke to Dominic. Great conversation with him. And just the appreciation that he had that I was, that I went up to them to talk to them about what we had to offer. How appreciative he was. So that was just fantastic. And then let's see, other things on the 9 to 5 front. So those products are moving along very nicely. We had a great meeting last Friday. One of those kind of multi-hour meetings. No, it was Thursday. And so that was great. So we got a lot of work done there. And so now I have a nice list of things to go through, which is great. And then tomorrow and Wednesday is all-day project management training. So psyched for that. It's going to be intense, but it's going to be really good. I mean, I'm going to learn a lot. And what's great is this is perfect timing for what I'm doing right now. So this is beautifully timed, and there's going to be homework. And so essentially the homework is the work I should be doing anyway. So it's beautifully timed. And then we have another 2 sessions next week, next Tuesday and Wednesday. And then tomorrow night I have 2 awesome meetings in the evening. So tomorrow night is my night of work. So I have a dinner with my man Brandon. I'm so in love with Brandon. He's awesome. He's just becoming a really good friend of mine, and I really appreciate our time together. He's really inspiring man. Really just, we just feed off each other, and I really appreciate that. And then later on, I'll be getting together with another work buddy of mine named David, and David's a drummer as well, so we're going to talk drums. We're going to talk nonprofits. His sister-in-law is big into nonprofits, and so there will be an introduction there at some point. And so the point of the meeting is so that way I can show him what we're doing at Fundraise Up, so he feels good about it and feels just comfortable that he's looked at it. And that's what's cool. So we have a new site, so I'm so confident in what I'm showing. I'm really getting comfortable in talking about it. And so just, and this is the work, this is the grind. It's just every day just chipping away at this big thing that we're building, and I just love it. And then I was totally inspired also this evening. Gary Vee, his Hustler's Digest, and he had an article about like being kind and how important being kind is, and I'm totally learning that, because I thought being hardcore and holding people accountable and being kind of a pain in the butt was important. Now sometimes you gotta kind of like nag people a little bit and kind of help corral the folks and stuff like that, but you can still do it in a kind way, right? There's no reason that it needs to be kind of like being abrasive or anything like that, right? And so read his article, and then there was a link in there to this YouTube post that he created a couple of years ago. This kind of like 1 is greater than 0, kind of like why he does interviews on like small blogs and small vlogs, things that will get, like if he did an interview with me, for example, like what am I mean I'm getting very few views, but I don't really care about that right now, right? I'm just documenting, right? The whole point is that when I make it, then people will come and watch this stuff, and it'll all be here. Just why he does smaller blog, smaller interviews and things like that, where it's like 100 views, and someone like him, he can easily be, being with the big guys, and he has, right? He's been on some of the biggest talk shows you can imagine. But why it's important to do the, to interview with the little guys. And, just that was really inspirational, because that's also kind of, as I look at this opportunity with Fundraise Up, it's like, yes, we could just go after the really big companies, the really big nonprofits that do millions in online donations, and not worry about the little guys. And I love that Suzanne said this on the very first training call. She's like, no nonprofit is too small. We need to help them all. And that rhymes actually, but that's essentially what she said. And I love that, because it's just, let's just help everybody. Let's just cross the board. Let's just, just do it. Just crush it. And I love that. And, and it's really, that's where I kind of go back to this collecting stories thing. Just collecting stuff, because all, no matter how big or how small the nonprofit is, like the passion is still there. Right? The impact is still there. The stories are still there, and, if I can affect one nonprofit and they can raise an extra $5,000 in a year, and with that $5,000 help an extra 10 people, I mean, that could be like 10 people's lives. I mean, that could bring people out of poverty, 10 people out of poverty, or whatever that causes, or maybe, help 10 people with like really, horrible diseases, live their last year with a little bit more happiness. I mean, think of how that's like huge impact. That's just, love it. So, all right, well, long post. I haven't done a long one like this in a while. I have to admit, I'm not really digging the fact that I'm not posting Friday, Saturday, Sunday. As I mentioned before, we've switched up the family calendar, and so this is where we're at right now. So I'm doing the best with what I got, and we'll just go from there. So, but I'm still burning at, at both ends, still crushing, still on the grind, and I have to. I'm really enjoying this, and I'm just thinking about where I'm at right now and how excited I am for this very moment, but just like the work I've done so far this year and the vantage point I have from where I am right now and what I can kind of see it's just awesome. So anyway, I will wrap there. check out the description. Grace, there's some great links down there. Check out the beat in the background. G Money's my alter ego. I write these beats. They're on SoundCloud. There's a link down below. My morning ends is in the description. Check that out. I'm doing some like long form ensing, and I'm starting to tell the stories of how I got to Fundraise up, and they're very cool stories. Well, at least I think they are. So it's cool to just more documentation. So with that, get some good rest. I'm psyched to go to sleep right now. Wake up tomorrow, light it up, crush it, inspire folks, do great things, and I will ends you in the morning.